Ron Barron just had a massive interview on CNBC where he explained why he is never selling his Tesla stock. This one is a banger.
So let's talk a little bit about Tesla, because you have been an investor with Barron Funds since 2014. So more than a decade that you've been standing by Elon Musk. It's been a very good bet for your firm. You've made how many $1 billion on Elon Musk since then?
Made about $8 billion in Tesla from $400 million when we started. And in SpaceX, we've made about $4 billion. And since we started that in 2017. So about 12 or 13 billion we've made so far. I think we're going to make 5 times that next 10 years.
You came out strongly in favor of his new pay package that could pay him $1 billion over time if they meet certain metrics. It was not a surprise to me because you've talked to us on the show for a long time about how you feel about him and how he is the key man and how none of these companies would be anywhere near where they are without him. Your conviction, why you believe in that, and then your concentration in his stocks at this point. I was shocked. In your personal portfolio, I think 65% of your personal investments are tied to Elon Musk through either SpaceX or Tesla or XAI.
It's about 40% in Tesla and about 25% in SpaceX, and the balance 35% in our mutual funds. And in SpaceX, I think we're going to make 10 times over the next 10 years. I think we're going to make 5 times. And my mutual funds, I think we're going to make 3 times. It's obviously riskier to put a large percentage of your money in one entity. For our mutual funds, it's about 22% invested in SpaceX and Tesla, 11% apiece. And then XAI, that's an investment that's smaller right now. We've only invested, I guess, $350 million in XAI. It's now worth $700 million. And the next pricing is going to be probably double where it is now. It means about $1.5 trillion, so it's going to be in our top 10 in the next time they price.
I was thinking back to several years ago when you actually sold some Tesla. You did it at the time only because the stock had increased so much in value to the point where it made you a little uncomfortable with how big of a position it was in the funds. It wasn't a commentary on you losing faith in Elon Musk or in the stock, but at the time you said, look, I can't as a fund manager have that big of a position in it. What has changed? Because I think you have a much bigger position today.
Well, I didn't feel uncomfortable, but my clients felt uncomfortable, and I was being criticized for having such a large investment in one company. And we had bought stock at $10 or $15 a share, 12, and it was trading at 220. We sold for our clients about 25% of their investment. I wanted to make sure that they knew that the reason they held the stock was because I thought it was still interesting, as opposed to that I had died. And so I didn't want them to think I died, and that's the only reason they still owned it. So we sold a quarter of the stock, and then the stock hadn't done anything for 3 or 4 years. When President Trump was elected, the stock in the first part of this year went up dramatically, went up to 400. But we sold 5% more. So we sold 30% for clients. I did not sell personally a single share. What I committed to the board of our mutual funds is that I was the last purchaser. I haven't really invested in stocks since 1992 in public companies. And I told the board, if you let me invest in this, when I tried to get everyone else to invest, nobody else wanted to at Barron Capital. So I said, if you let me invest a certain amount of money, then I will promise that I won't sell any of my stock. And I told you I wouldn't invest, but let me break my promise and let me invest. And then I will be the last person out of the stock. So I will not sell a single share of my company, of my shares, until my clients have sold 100% of their shares. And I don't expect to sell in my lifetime Tesla or SpaceX, either one.
Wow, that is a huge commitment and a huge amount of faith that you have in Elon Musk and his company.
Companies are really unusual. You know, when you think about what he's doing, you talk about the pay package. And, you know, this is not like Rockefeller or like Carnegie or like Mellon or like Morgan, Ford. And, you know, he remembers everything. It's incredible. And the opportunities that he's trying to take advantage of for his clients and for himself. So we say, so why is he doing this? Why, when you're worth that much money, why do you do this? Why is he doing this? Why is he working these crazy hours? Why is he risking his health? And to me, you know, what's the difference between $400 billion net worth and $1 trillion? It's not saving up for a beach house. The way I think about it is that he wants to think about how people will remember him someday what he's created, how he's helped humanity survive.
So you think he's playing for legacy?
Yes, definitely. What else could you do? And then he thinks that the business right now, he doesn't really get paid unless the company goes up in value from here 6 times.
Do you think it will?
Yes.
You do?
I think
Even Robin Denholm wasn't so sure.
When you're the head of a public company, other than Elon Musk, you have to be guarded about what you say about your business prospects. And you can say one thing in public, and I don't think anyone believes who works at Tesla that he's not going to make 5 or 6 or 7 times in 10 years and 4 or 5 times again after that. I think that I'm thinking about 2,500 of where his stock's going to be, Tesla's stock's going to be in 10 years, and I think it's going to be 4 times that.
Is that a function of automobiles? Is that a function of robots? What is that, in your mind, what is the driver of that?
Have you watched his annual meeting?
I have.
Did you see what he was talking about for Optimus?
We'll jump back to that clip in just a moment when Ron reveals what he is most excited about when it comes to Tesla. But first, a few comments on what we've just seen. Ron's extreme concentration in Musk companies shows a calculated bet on founder-led businesses that a lot of investors misunderstand or ignore. When a company hires a CEO-minded individual, that person walks into an existing business with products already built and strategies already set. Their job is keeping things running smoothly and hitting quarterly targets. Often, they manage what's there and they don't rock the boat too much. Founded-minded individuals like Elon work completely differently because they pretty much built everything to what it is today. They understand why every decision was made, not just what the final result looks like. Founder-ran companies created inventions that other businesses or people actually wanted to use. Hired CEOs are often best at squeezing out every piece of possible value that has already been invented by the founder. Founders invent things that solve real problems because often they started something that they wanted their company to fix. And that gives them instincts about what customers actually need versus what might look good in a presentation. Ron Barron, a legendary billionaire from the world of investing, has put most of his personal wealth into these bets, showing he really believes in this. Believe you me, this isn't financial advice from me. The traditional advice is don't put your eggs all in one basket. Ron Barron, on the other hand, looked at decades of data and decided concentrating on the right founders beats spreading money across average companies. That only works if you can spot which founders actually know what they're doing, and Barron's track record with Musk proves he can. Investors also treat founder decisions with more trust than newly hired CEOs. When Jeff Bezos spent billions building Amazon Web Services before anyone knew if it would work, Wall Street mostly let him do it because he'd already built Amazon from an online bookstore into a giant. If a hired CEO tried the same thing, often investors would freak out and demand proof it would make money quickly. Founders get permission to think long-term that hired executives can't even get with the same ideas. Ron Barron understands that founder advantages get bigger over time. Maybe the founder makes some slightly better calls than a hired CEO would. Nothing dramatic, but those better decisions create a stronger team, better culture, and smarter ways of working, and potentially are doubling down on big swings a more conservative CEO never would have attempted. By year 5, the gap has grown. By year 10, the company is completely different than what would have been led with a more Tim Cook style of squeezing out value from what has already been invented. But Ron's comments about why Musk works so hard also reveal another insight into Musk's extreme wealth. Elon's motivation isn't about accumulating more money. Why would somebody who's already worth this amount of money work these hours and risk as much as Elon does? Ron believes Elon's drive is through legacy, which sounds a bit obvious until you realize how rare that mindset is among ultra wealthy. A lot of billionaires talk about leaving a mark, but often their actions reveal different priorities. They create foundations that preserve their wealth across generations, they optimize tax strategies, they fund projects that carry their name but require minimal personal sacrifice. For example, the Giving Pledge. Hundreds of billionaires publicly promise to give away at least half of their money. Most of them haven't done it, and actually their growth has grown way faster than they've given anything away. It does feel like some of them have taken the credit for being generous without actually giving up their money or control. Now, just for clarity, I'm definitely not anti-billionaires, but this is where Ron Barron and I think Musk operates differently. Working yourself sick when you already have so much money only makes sense if you care way more about how history remembers you or your impact on humanity than being comfortable or rich. Ron compares Elon Musk to Leonardo da Vinci. Da Vinci didn't paint any stuff because it made him rich. He did it because he wanted to understand everything about how the world works and push human knowledge forward. His legacy comes from expanding what humanity could do. Running multiple companies at once, where each one needs your full attention, suggests a similar motivation. You take on that insane workload because you want to maximize impact on human progress, not because it makes financial sense or improves your life. Most with Elon's money would hire people to handle everything and just show up for big meetings. Elon, on the other hand, sleeps on factory floors when Tesla is ramping up production. He works through periods where you can see his health falling apart. That behavior only makes sense if the specific results matter more to you than enjoying your wealth or staying healthy. And when it comes to Elon's pay package, well, someone who wants guaranteed money would negotiate steady payments no matter what happens. Elon only gets paid out if he achieves incredibly difficult feats of engineering and scale. Elon Musk is focused on bigger things than money. He's aiming to put people on Mars and transform how Earth acquires and uses energy. Those projects need way more than just money. And Ron, promising to never sell his Tesla or SpaceX shares, show he believes Musk's legacy and obsession in driving humanity forward will keep producing massive returns. That's a totally different way to evaluate investments, but one that Ron Barron's returns prove works when you correctly spot the rare people genuinely trying to be remembered by history rather than people pretending to care about legacy while actually just protecting their wealth.
Well, Optimus is, I think, for him, the next sort of leg of this whole
It's the biggest
story.
thing ever. And so next year it's going to be 1 million of those units, and he thinks 10 million after that. Building a production line right now for 1 million, and it's going to be 10 million, it's going to be 100 million. He thinks it's $1 billion a year that he's going to be able to make in these robots. Think about that, $1 billion a year, $20,000 robots. This is a sustainable abundance that he talks about. Sustainable energy is what he had before. Now it's sustainable abundance. He thinks everyone's going to have much better lives, much more prosperous lives, and then maybe there'll be a beach in Mars somewhere.
Picture this, a potential client searches for what your business offers and your YouTube video appears. Before they've even booked a call, they've built trust with you, turning them into a warm lead. That's why our clients are hitting $100,000 months, because YouTube turns attention into authority. If you run a business, book a call and I'll show you exactly how to make this happen.